Welcome to part 6, the function and structure of the skin. This thick layer also lowers the effects of friction in the skin, especially in regions like the soles of your feet and the palms of your hands. It's also important to note that this layer is typically composed of 3 to 5 layers of dead, flattened keratinocytes. How can you best recognize it? It's usually found in the thick skins of the palms of your hand or the soles of your feet. And the function of it is to protect the areas most common to damage, such as, touching things, the fingers, the bottoms of the feet where you're walking. These usually comprise or need an extra layer of skin for added protection for your body, protection against the elements. I know that a lot of this terminology is new to you, but it is important to understand the fundamentals. I don't think your clients are going to actually ask you, but one or two might. And it's good to know this information if you are going to be a professional skincare coach. The next layer is a bit of a mouthful, I'll admit that. It's the stratum granulosum. The function of the stratum granulosum is to act as a transitional layer where keratinocyte skin cells develop into their final form and die. Within this layer, the dead keratinocytes secrete defensins, which are part of our first immune system's defense layer. This layer is made up of proteins, and it's fat-rich, lipid-rich. It's responsible for the formation of epidermal water barrier by making and secreting lipids, fats. During a skincare coaching session, this layer is vitally important from an evaluation and analysis standpoint. This layer is the functioning ability of the skin. It typically glows when it functions properly, and it doesn't look ruddy or damaged. You can actually see underneath the skin if the skin is functioning properly from the ruddiness of the skin. So it's vitally important to look at it through that lens. The next layer is the stratum spinosum. In this layer, melanin is transferred to keratinocytes to protect skin cells from UV rays. This is where the dermis connects to the epidermis and to the hypodermis and provides strength and elasticity due to the presence of collagen and elastin fibers. Therefore, its primary function is to help make your skin flexible, resilient, and strong. It consists mostly of keratinocytes held together by sticky proteins called desmosomes. Now let's talk about the stratum basale. This layer is the deepest layer of the epidermis. New skin cells develop in this layer, and it also contains keratinocyte stem cells, which produce the protein keratin. Keratin helps form hair, nails, and your skin's outer layer, which protect you from the harsh environment. It also contains melanocytes, which are responsible for producing melanin, which provides the pigment of your epidermis. Your dermis is the middle layer of the skin in your body. It makes about 90% of the skin's thickness. It provides nourishment to the epidermis and has many important functions, including protecting your body from the outside world. It supports your epidermis, feeling different sensations, and produces sweat too. As you age, your dermis's function slows down considerably, and this affects the skin's outward appearance. And it's therefore important to understand what you can do to help its function maintain its best function possible. The blood vessels in the dermis provide nutrients to the epidermis, keeping the skin layers very healthy in most human beings. The dermis is where collagen is stored and produced. Collagen is a protein that makes the skin cells strong and resilient. Another protein found in the dermis, elastin, helps keep your skin flexible. It helps it by stretching the skin and helping it regain its shape. That's what elastin does. The dermis also has tissues with a lot of blood vessels that include a clear gel-like fluid that fills the space between your cells and your fibers. This is a ground substance, and it helps the skin maintain its shape. The skin also has follicles and various glands, including sweat glands and sebaceous glands. The roots of the hair follicles attach to the dermis so that your hair can actually grow. The oil glands in the dermis help keep the skin soft and smooth. Oil also prevents your skin from absorbing too much water when you swim or shower, or losing too much water through evaporation. Temperature regulation is controlled by sweat glands in the dermis, releasing sweat through the skin's pores. Sweating actually regulates your overall body temperature. The dermis contains nerve endings to signal that the skin has been injured, and also it considers inflammation. These nerves help you feel pain and signal whether something's too hot to the touch, soft, sticky, and the dermis plays an important role in wound healing as well. The dermis also cushions the deeper structures of your body from mechanical injuries caused by blows, being crushed, or from objects actually penetrating it. So let's talk about the hypodermis. This is also referred to as subcutaneous fat, the subcutaneous tissue, or the innermost layer. This contains adipose, which is fat, and the blood vessels that are connected to it. This connects the skin to the body's underlying muscles and skeleton. It buffers the organs and the skeleton by acting as a shock absorber of sorts. It stores energies in its cells. That's what fat cells do. And it's actually at the bottom layer of the hypodermis. That's the fatty layer. The hypodermis cushions muscles and bones. And how does it do this? Well, fat cells accumulate in this layer. And when it accumulates, it can act as a shock absorber to physical and environmental impacts. In this way, the hypodermis is designed to protect muscles and bones from injuries when you fall or if you're in an accident. These same fat cells, actually help you from getting too hot or too cold, and therefore they also help regulate body temperature. This layer acts as an insulator, in other words. In general terms, the body's fascia is a thin layer of connective tissue that surrounds and holds every organ, blood vessel, bone, nerve fiber, and muscle in place. The outer layers of our skin, also known as the basement membrane, are actually made of connective tissue called superficial fascia. This fascia connective tissue does more than provide an internal structure. Fascia has nerves that make it almost as sensitive as the skin's. And there are 3 types of fascia, but the hypodermis superficial fascia's job is to connect the layers of the skin to the muscles and bones. If you get a deep cut, you'll actually see the superficial fascia right below the skin, and you don't want that to happen. Now let's talk about blood vessels. Additionally, the nerves and blood vessels in the dermis, the middle layer, get larger and branch out across the hypodermis, allowing the layers of the skin to connect to the rest of the body. When you look at the diagrams of the skin structure, the blood vessels are often depicted in 2 colors, red for vessels that transport oxygen, and blue for veins that carry carbon dioxide. This connective tissue is located in various layers of our skin, below the skin, and it does a lot for the skin structure and function in terms of the part it plays for our lymph, blood, pain sensing, and nervous systems. Your lymph system is actually instrumental in flushing out toxin, and it also fuels the blood's tissues and skin with oxygen and nutrients. The nerves of the skin include 2 types, somatic and autonomic nerves. The somatic sensory system is responsible for sensing pain, temperature, light touch, discriminative touch, vibration, and pressure. The autonomic innervation is responsible for the control of the tone of vascular pilomotor stimulation at the hair root and sweating. The free nerve endings extend into the dermis and sense pain, heat, and cold, and they're most numerous in the stratum granulosum layer and surrounding most hair follicles. Now let's talk about sebaceous glands. Sebum production is a complex process that scientists don't fully understand.